Hello students, we are discussing our point, that is the microbe for human welfare, and from that the point that we have started in our previous lecture is the chemicals, enzymes and other bioactive molecule from the NCERT syllabus, and we have discussed some of its parts. That is, we have seen that mainly there are production of the organic acids, enzymes, ethanol, that means alcohol, can be produced on a large scale, and those are included under the biochemicals, enzymes and the bioactive molecules. Here we have seen that some of the acid like citric acid is produced by fungus Aspergillus niger, while butyric acid is produced by the Clostridium butyricum, then acetic acid is produced by Acetobacter, Yeast Saccharomyces cerevisiae produces the ethanol, lactic acid is produced by the Lactobacillus. So here we have to remember the name of the organism and production of the particular acid by it. So here we have completed one of our point, that is the organic acid. We have also seen that some of the enzymes are also have important role, and in that we have seen one of the enzyme that is called as the lipase enzyme. These lipase enzyme are used in the detergent. Why it is used in detergent? Because we have seen that they remove the oily stains from the cloths and they carry out the brightness in the cloth fibers. So they are used in the detergent. One more example of the enzymes are the pectinase and proteases. These enzymes are used, pectinase and protease enzymes are used for the clarification of the fruit juices, because we have seen that the juice which we made at home is not clear as compared to the juice found in the market, and in the market, in that bottle of the juice, some enzymes get added. Those enzymes are the pectinase and the protease enzyme, and these enzymes carry out the clarification of the fruit juices. Okay, so here we have seen the role of pectinase and protease, and one more enzyme we have seen, and that is, the name of that enzyme is the streptokinase enzyme. This enzyme is produced by bacteria Streptococcus. This enzyme is produced by bacteria Streptococcus. What is the role of this enzyme? This enzyme, which acts as a blot cluster. Clot buster. Clot buster means we have seen that if there will be myocardial infection which causes the heart attack in that person, especially in their blood vessel, there will be clots, and that clot can be easily dissolved with the help of this enzyme which is produced by the bacteria Streptococcus. So here we have completed this much part in our previous lecture. Now one more point from this chemicals, enzymes and bioactive molecule that we have to see, and it is the cyclosporin A and the statins role. So here we have to see that one of the fungi that is called Trichoderma conigui produce the cyclosporin A. Okay, so here one of the important example is the cyclosporin A, which is produced by the fungi Trichoderma polysporum. Okay, Trichoderma polysporum is the name of the fungi which produce this chemical cyclosporin A, which acts as a immunosuppressive agent. During organ transplantation. Okay, so here we have to remember that this cyclosporin A is one of the chemicals which is produced by the Trichoderma polysporum, which is the name of one of the fungi, and this cyclosporin A acts as an immunosuppressive agent during organ transplantation. Now, what is meant by immunosuppressive agent? Immunosuppressive agent means immunity. Our immune system in the human health, and this is a topic you have studied what is meant by immune system. Like other system, there are immune system present in our body, and this immune system always not allow any foreign particle in our body. If any foreign particle comes in our body, then it fight against that foreign particle and remove that particle. Okay, so during the organ transplantation experiment, that is maybe in the kidney transplantation, liver transplantation, what happens generally, the other organ of the other person get implanted into the body of particular patient. Okay, that is not own organ of that patient. So if any other organ which is not own onto that body, it may be considered a foreign organ, it get inserted inside the body, then that patient body do not accept that organ. Then that patient body do not accept that organ. So during the organ transplantation take time, the immune system of that patient gets suppressed, get inhibited, and that's why that immune system cannot reject that organ. It can easily insert it into the body of the patient. At only that time immune system is depressed, inactivated, and that's why there is no risk of rejection of that particular organ. So particular for duration, immune system get inhibited, their function gets stopped, and that is called as a immunosuppressive agent. It is only because of easy transplantation of the particular organ, which is always called as a foreign organ, into the patient body. And here you have to remember that that chemical which is responsible for this immunosuppressive agent is the cyclosporin A. Now, the last point that we have discussed under this title is the statin. Statin is another chemical which is secreted by the yeast. So last point is statin. Which is secreted or is by the yeast. The name of that yeast is Monaskis purpureus, and which acts as the blood cholesterol lowering agent, which acts as a blood cholesterol lowering agent. Then this point you have also discussed in the topic circulation. Cholesterol when get increased inside the blood vessel, then that blood vessel get narrower, and we have seen the name of this is that is called as the arteriosclerosis. Okay, and at that here we have seen that this cholesterol deposition can cause the narrowing of the blood vessel, and due to which there are more chances of the blood clot in that blood vessel and the heart attack. So to avoid this condition, there is one chemical that is called as a statin, which is produced by yeast, and name of that yeast is Monascus purpureus. This statin produced by this Monascus purpureus lower the cholesterol in the blood, and that's why it cannot get deposited inside the wall of the blood vessel, particularly inside the wall of the artery. Okay, so here in this point we have seen cyclosporin A produced by Trichoderma polysporum and the statin produced by the yeast Monascus purpureus. Okay, so here we have completed our lecture for NEET point of view from the NCERT that we have already studied in our state board syllabus. But student, for NEET point of view, you have to remember all the things like which are the fungi, which are the bacteria, which is the yeast. So you have to make a chart like under the title yeast. You have to remember that there is one yeast. The name of that yeast is Saccharomyces cerevisiae. So this Saccharomyces cerevisiae is called as a baker yeast because it is involved in the production of the bread. It is called as a brewer yeast because it is involved in the production of alcoholic beverages like wine, beer, whiskey, brandy, rum. Okay. Then second example that you have to remember under the title yeast, that is the Monascus purpureus. It is another yeast which produces statin, and role of statin is it lower the blood cholesterol level. In generally what happens in the blood, this statin inhibit the enzyme or stop the activity of enzyme which is responsible for the cholesterol formation. That is in the body of the human being, one enzyme is there that get involved in the formation of cholesterol, and the activity of that enzyme get blocked by this statin. Okay, and thus it lower the blood cholesterol level. This is one example. Now under the title bacterium, how you have to remember the role of bacterium, that bacterium, and under that you have to remember that bacterium are mainly involved in the production of idli and dosa. This is the one thing. Then you have to make a list of the bacteria which are involved for different purposes. For example, Acetobacter aceti, you have to write that it is responsible for acetic acid, which is commonly called as a vinegar. Then second example, Monascus purpureus, that example we have seen, or here Monascus purpureus, it is example of yeast. Then we have seen that the cheese, in that also there is a role of bacteria. Now you have to remember all these names under the title bacteria. Then same thing under the title fungi. No doubt yeast is an example of fungi, but separately the role of fungi like the Trichoderma polysporum, you have to write the role of this Trichoderma polysporum. Then we have seen that Aspergillus niger, which is involved in the production of the citric acid. Thus you have to make a list for NEET point of view of the different microbes. Okay, you have to not study only yeast under the title bioactive molecule. You have to study yeast and its role in different mechanism, and then you can easily understand the particular organism and its role. Do not study separately, but make column that bacteria, list of bacteria, their role. Yeast, list of yeast, their role. Then fungi, list of fungi and their role. So if any question is asked on this point, you can easily understand or easily can solve that question, because you have made the list of that particular microbe. Because this topic for learning is very easy or simple, but you cannot remember all the microorganisms at a time by different ways. So you have to make a chart of these microbes, and you have to remember their role in different human welfare production. Okay, so here we have completed this point for NEET point of view. Now again I will start the last part, which is remaining from the industrial production from the state board, and that is the gibberellin production. Okay, so don't be confused. Here we have completed our first point, which we have already taught for state board, and that we have also taught for the NEET point of view. Okay, now the next part that we are going to discuss now is again from the state board, and that is called as gibberellin production, because in NCERT gibberellin is not mentioned anywhere. So we have completed first part which is given in our book. Now here we will see that this is state board, so do not get confused. Under the state board we have to see that role of microbes for industrial production, and under this for industrial production, under this title for industrial production, we have to discuss one part that is remaining, and that is called as the gibberellin production. That is called as the gibberellin production. And here students, see here again I will tell you that here industrial production for state board, we have seen that they are involved in the production of the alcoholic beverages, in the production of the organic acid, production of vitamins, production of the enzymes, production of the antibiotics, and one part is remaining, that is the gibberellin production. Now what is gibberellin? In the point which or in the topic which we have to discuss, that is plant growth and hormone. In that you can see that in the plant there are 5 types of hormones are secreted. Those are auxin, gibberellin, cytokinin, ethylene, and abscisic acid. Okay, auxin, gibberellin, cytokinin, ethylene, and abscisic acid, and in that one of the hormone is given, that is the gibberellin production. Why only this hormone is mentioned here? Because this gibberellin hormone is more important than other hormone for the growth of the plant, and that's why they can be produced on a large scale at the industrial level. So this gibberellin, which is also called as gibberellic acid, is generally produced by the higher plants and the fungi. They are produced by the higher plants and the fungi. And what is the main role of this gibberellin? They are used for the growth of plants because they are generally has a role in the stem elongation of the plants. Stem elongation. Now what is meant by stem elongation? Elongation of the stem, that is the increase in the length of the stem, that means again increase in the height of the plant. So for increasing the height of the plant, by increasing the elongation of the stem, this gibberellin acts on the plant. Okay, so this gibberellin was first isolated by 2 Japanese scientists, and name of that Japanese scientist is Yabuta and Sumiki. Yabuta and Sumiki, those Japanese scientists first isolated this gibberellin from rice seedling. Isolated gibberellin from rice seedling infected with fungi Gibberellia fusciculi. Okay, so you have to remember that this is not mentioned in the NCERT book, so it is not asked for the NEET exam, but for theory point of view, you have to remember that this gibberellin is one of the important hormone produced by the higher plants and the fungi. This gibberellin hormone is mainly involved for the stem elongation of the plant. That means it increases the height of the plant. This gibberellin was first discovered by two Japanese scientists, Yabuta and the Sumiki, in the rice seedling which is infected by the fungi, and the name of that fungi is Gibberellia fusiculae. Okay, so here we have given the general information about this gibberellin. Now up to this there are about 15 different types of gibberellins was discovered. Okay, these gibberellins are of various types, and up to this 15 different types of the gibberellin or the gibberellic acids are produced. But we have to see again the applications of gibberellin, then we can understand the importance of gibberellin on the growth of the plant. So this gibberellin has various roles in the body of the plant, and those are that is this gibberellin has roles, and those roles are: first, they are involved to induce the parthenocarpy. So here we are seeing or we are studying the applications of gibberellin. This shows parthenocarpy. They are responsible for parthenocarpy. In apple and pear, break dormancy of seed, should flowering in long day plants. Okay. And the last application is they enlarge the size of grapefruit. Okay, so these are the applications of the gibberellins during the plant growth. Parthenocarpy means in the reproduction of the plants. We have seen that parthenogenesis is a mechanism in which the fruits are developed without fertilization. Not all fruits are developed without fertilization, but there are some fruits which can be developed without fertilization. Such a fruit we call it as a parthenocarpy, and this parthenocarpy we can observe in the fruit like the apple and the pear. Pear means such a kind of fruit that we can observe that broad base and the narrow apex, which is called as the pear. Second thing is that there are some seeds which undergoes the mechanism of the dormancy, and that during that dormancy period that seed cannot show any metabolic activity. They do not germinate at all. That is called as the dormancy of the seed. And during the dormancy of the seed, that seed stop its all activity, and to break down the dormancy of seed, gibberellin can be applied there, and that's why that seed can easily germinate. Flowering in long day plant. Again we have to see this point, that is long day plant, short day plant and day neutral plant. So according to the duration of the light on that plant, or according to the duration of light, some plant produce the flower, and that's why those plants are classified into long day plant that require long duration of light, short day plant that requires short duration of light, and day neutral plants means they do not have any impact of light on their flowering. So there are some plants which require long duration of light for their flowering, and those are called as the long day plant. And in those long day plants, flowering can be produced by applying the gibberellin on it. So it is a second point, and then enlarge the size of grapefruits. Not only here it enlarges the size of grapefruit, but there are various types of fruits whose size can be enlarged by application of the gibberellin on it. So due to this, which are very important function of the gibberellin in the plant body, this gibberellin can be produced on a large scale at the industrial level. Okay, so here we have completed the next point from the state board's levels, and that is the role of microbes for the industrial production. Okay, now the third point, that is same from the state board, we are going to discuss, and that is the biogas. Okay, before that there is a sewage treatment, but we will see biogas production, and then we will see how the sewage can be treated by these microbes. So next point here it is given is, that is microbes in energy generation. Microbe in energy generation. And see here what we have to discuss that now energy generation means there is a production of the some kind of energy with the help of the microorganism. And which kind of energy can be generated with the help of this microorganism? Because in many developing countries they have installed or they have developed one of the plant that is called as a biogas, and which are necessary for the fulfillment of the energy requirement. So here we have to see that biogas plant. Then what is meant by biogas plant? This biogas plant is a plant which fulfills the requirement of energy. This biogas can be used for the domestic as well as for the industrial level. So it can be used as a domestic and industrial fuel. Okay, domestic means घरगुती म्हणून आपण घरामध्ये वेगवेगळ्या कारणासाठी, घरातल्या लाइटिंगसाठी, घरातल्या कुकिंगसाठी हा बायोगॅस वापरला जातो. सो इट इज कॉल्ड ॲज अ डोमेस्टिक. अँड इंडस्ट्रियल फ्युएल मीन्स स्मॉल स्केल इंडस्ट्रीज आर देअर. फॉर रनिंग ऑफ दॅट स्मॉल स्केल इंडस्ट्रीज आल्सो दिस बायोगॅस इज यूज. सो इट इज कॉल्ड ॲज अ डोमेस्टिक अँड इंडस्ट्रियल फ्युएल. Important thing about this biogas is that it acts as a renewable or non-conventional and renewable source of energy. This is very important point, that biogas acts as a non-conventional and renewable source of energy. Non-conventional and renewable, which is produced by the fermentation of the microbes. Now, what is meant by non-conventional? Non-conventional means such a source of energy which cannot be easily exhausted, which cannot be easily finished, which is present naturally. For example, there is a wind energy, there is a tidal energy, there is a thermal energy. Okay, so wind, tidal, thermal, they are present naturally around us, and so they can produce the energy like that. Sorry, like that this biogas is non-conventional. It can be easily generated, and the same meaning is there. Renewable means they can be easily generated. If one finish, we can easily again we can regenerate. So non-conventional means it cannot be exhausted, it cannot be stopped at all. It is present naturally on a large scale, and renewable means we can easily generate this biogas plant, so it is called as a renewable. Okay, so renewable and non-conventional means it cannot be finished at all. Even though when earth is present, it can remain on the earth, it cannot be exhausted. Now we have to see the important point of this biogas is that this biogas has a mixture of the methane, has a mixture of the carbon dioxide, and has a mixture of other gases like carbon monoxide, N2 and H2. But here we have to see the percentage of different gases in this biogas, because for the theory point of view, the question is asked that how much percentage of methane is present in the biogas, or how much percentage of the CO2 is present in the gas. So you have to know that which gases are present in the biogas, or which gas we call as a biogas. So this biogas, which is used as an important source of the fuel for the domestic and industrial level, which is the non-conventional and renewable source of energy, has the mixture, or we may say that the composition of this biogas has important gases like methane, CO2 and other gases which are present in very trace amount. And so if we see the percentage of this methane, then the percentage of methane is about 50 to 60%. Percentage of CO2 30 to 40%. And this percentage of the, here we have to see one more gases, that is H2S. H2S percentage is about 0.3. And other gases, in that we have to see carbon monoxide, N2, H2. So this is important point that you have to remember which gases are present in the biogas. Those gases are methane, whose percentage is 50 to 60%, carbon dioxide 30 to 40%, H2S about 0.3%, and here other gases which are present in a very trace amount, and those are carbon monoxide, N2 and H2. So this biogas has combination of the substances which is highly inflammable. This biogas is called as the highly inflammable source of energy. Inflammable means in Marathi we call as a ज्वलनशील, पेटणारा, आग तयार करणारा आपल्याला पाहायला मिळतो, ज्वलनशील असतो. So it is called as a highly inflammable source of energy. Okay, so here we have seen that how these microbes are involved, or not we have seen, but here we are discussing that these microbes are involved in the production of the biogas, and for that biogas these are the combination of these various types of gases. So if question is asked that which is the main gas included in the biogas, then we have to write the name methane. Okay, then next to methane CO2, then H2S, and then other gases like CO, N2 and H2. Okay, now here we have to see which raw material is used for this biogas production. How biogas is produced by the particularly farmer in their yard or in their home, because for that biogas the particular raw material is used, that is called as the dung, maybe cow dung or the buffalo dung. So majority of this biogas can be observed in the rural areas, particularly it is installed or the implanted by the farmers, because farmer can get easily this raw material for that biogas production. So another important point that which material we can use for this biogas production, because it always says that this biogas is a very cheap one. So we have to not buy any material for the biogas production. This material can be easily available in our surroundings, and the raw material particularly used for that is domestic waste. Plant waste, animal waste, agricultural waste, forestry waste, municipal waste. Okay, so this is the raw material which can be used for this biogas production. Domestic waste means the waste which are produced in our home in day-to-day life or in every day. With the waste which are produced in our home is called as the domestic waste. मग त्याच्यामध्ये काय येऊ शकतं की राहिलेले अन्न पदार्थ ज्याला आपण खरकट म्हणतो, फेकून देतो किड्यावर, ते येऊ शकतं. घरातला जैविक कचरा म्हणू शकतो आपण, जो फळांचे कवरिंग असू दे किंवा अजून काही ज्या वस्तू असू देत की ज्या डिग्रेडेबल होऊ शकतात, अशाला आपण काय म्हणू शकतो, डोमेस्टिक वेस्ट. प्लांट वेस्ट, वाळलेला पालापाचोळा कचरा त्याला म्हणायचं प्लांट वेस्ट. वाळलेली पानं झाडांची, that is called as plant waste. Animal waste means excreta, fecal matter of the animal waste. Agriculture waste means in the agriculture, after removal of the particular crop, there are some plant parts remaining in the soil, that is called as the agricultural waste. किंवा आपण जसं म्हणतो भात काढला किंवा मसूर काढला किंवा अनेक असे प्लांट काढले, भुईमुगाच्या शेंगा काढल्या की त्यानंतर त्या शेंगा बाजूला काढल्यानंतर जे काही प्लांट मटेरियल बाजूला राहते जे आपल्याला नको आहे त्याला म्हणायचं ॲग्रिकल्चर वेस्ट. देन फॉरेस्ट वेस्ट. फॉरेस्टमध्ये सुद्धा कितीतरी असे वेस्ट प्रोडक्ट तयार होतात की ज्याचा यूज नसतो, असे सगळे वेस्ट प्रोडक्ट. मग त्याच्यामध्ये पर्टिक्युलरली प्लांट मटेरियल असणार आहे, जे वाळलेलं लाकूड असेल, पानं असतील, फळं असतील, दॅट इज कॉल्ड फॉरेस्ट वेस्ट. आणि म्युनिसिपल वेस्ट. म्युनिसिपल म्हणजे आपल्याला पाहायला मिळतं की नगरपालिका, महानगरपालिका असेल तिथं जे वेस्ट मॅटर तयार होतं पूर्ण त्या शहरामधलं, ते सगळं वेस्ट मॅटर म्हणजे काय म्हणायचं, म्युनिसिपल वेस्ट. सो दीज आर यूज ॲज अ रॉ मटेरियल for the biogas production. So it is another important point that you have to remember which raw materials are generally used for the biogas production, and those are the domestic waste, plant waste, animal waste, agricultural waste, forestry waste, and the municipal waste. But generally the all from that, or the major part which is used for the biogas production, and that is called as the cow dung. Okay, this cattle dung, or we can say that instead of cow, cattle dung is used for the biogas production because it is a rich source of the substance cellulose from plant. Student, see here, if you remember the last year topic, biological classification, in that we have seen the one of the type of bacteria that is called as archaebacteria, and in that we have seen that the methanogenic bacteria which are commonly present in the stomach of this ruminant animal, and that methanogenic bacteria produce the gas methane, which is particularly observed in that dung. Okay, so here again we have to say that the cattle dung is mostly used for the biogas production. What is the reason of that? This cattle dung has an important substance, cellulose. And how this cellulose comes in the cattle dung? Because when these ruminant animals eat the plant part, the cellulose part which is present in that part of the plant, particularly in the cell wall, get ingested into the body of this cattle, and this cellulose part, which is partially digested or completely digested, ultimately comes in its dung, and when this cellulose part get added into that biogas, then what happen in that biogas plant, this cellulose get digested, and from that cellulose the major gas that we have seen, it is a methane gas, will be produced. Okay, so this is the reason why cow dung is used, because it has a cellulose material, and when the cellulose get added with this dung into that biogas plant, that biogas can produce microbes which we added along this dung into that biogas plant. These microbes digest the cellulose and form the methane gas. Okay, so this is the next point. From the microbes in the energy generation, that is why this cow dung or the cattle dung is used as a source of energy. Now the next thing is that before going to discuss in detail about the biogas plant, we will first discuss the significance or the applications of the biogas for the human being. Applications of this biogas. Why we have to see first application? Because you know how this biogas, you should know that how this biogas is important for the human being. So first thing is that this biogas is the cheap, safe and a renewable source of energy. Okay, so first thing is that here this biogas is cheap. Cheap means it is not costly. Anything which we have seen, the raw material which is available around us, we can insert it in the biogas. So it is a cheap. We have to not buy any material for the biogas plantation. So it is a cheap, safe. It is not dangerous. No any chemicals are involved there. So it is safe and the renewable source of energy. We can continuously generate this biogas. We can continuously generate the raw material which is used in that plant. So it is a cheap, safe, renewable source of energy. Also, here we have to say that this biogas can be easily stored, easily generated, and easily get transported. We can store this biogas easily at anywhere. This biogas can be easily generated when there is raw material available for that. It can be transported from one place to the another place. So there is no risk for storage of biogas, generation of biogas, or for transportation of the biogas. Second thing is that it can be used for the cooking, lighting at home. Okay, it can be used for street lighting. It can be used in industry. Okay, so here this biogas can be used for cooking, because you can observe that की ग्रामीण भागामध्ये शेगडी असते बघा, जी बायोगॅसला जोडलेली असते आणि त्या शेगडीवर सगळं फूड ड्राय केलं जातं. सो कॅन बी यूज कुकिंग बाय द बायोगॅस. वी कॅन यूज अवर लाईट ॲट होम. दे कॅन बी ऑल्सो यूज फॉर द स्ट्रीट लाईटिंग. रस्त्यावरच्या लाईटिंग पण त्याच्यापासून लागू शकतात. अँड small scale industry can be running with the help of this biogas. So for small scale industry also is one of the source of this biogas. Third application I will write here, and that is it burn with blue flame. Without smoke. Means its flame is blue and it do not cause any pollution. Okay, so smoke is not there. It burn with blue flame only, so it is very eco-friendly. So next one is eco-friendly. Means what? It do not cause any damage to the ecosystem. Instead of that, it improve the balance of the environment. and the sludge which is present at the end of this biogas plant, which again can be used as a fertilizer in the field. And fifth point is improve the sanitization of the surrounding. Means surrounding area can be clean with the help of this biogas, because the raw material which can be used in this biogas plant is from the surrounding, and that's why it can be easily collected and added in that biogas, so that surrounding area can be clean. Okay, so students, in today's lecture we have completed the gibberelling production from the step board, and the next point that we have started is the microbes in the energy generation, and in that we have seen that applications of the biogas. In next lecture we will see how there is a role of microbes in the biogas production. Thank you.